are now tuned in to another episode for the locally motivated, the locally inspired, the locally creative that keep the city beautiful, locally fresh. All right, guys, welcome to Locally Fresh. I am your host, Gimp, and we have Jonathan of the Donut Shoppe here in downtown Orlando. We're only missing Brooklyn because he's in DC.
Yep.
And then we're missing
Hector too, yeah.
There you go. This is actually the first installment of us being on the go visually, so I'm very excited. Thank you. And we just realized it's Hip Hop Day.
Yeah, happy Hip Hop Day.
Happy Hip Hop Day. What better place to be than at a record store? And what else did we say was going on today?
Oh, De La Soul. Well, this week, De La Soul got their the rights to their music. Yeah.
Holy cow, man, that's gotta suck ass
and,
that it took so long.
And Shinobi was wearing the De La sneakers.
There you go. So thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show with me.
Oh, thank you.
I'm
No, it's my pleasure.
No, of course. I was here a couple weeks ago during Record Store Day. And it was packed. You guys were like celebrating. You had DJs spinning. Like it was a all out celebration.
Yeah, it was super cool. Like we hadn't done something like that in a long time, like over a year and a half, you know, where we got to use the space, you know, for more than just retail. Yeah. You know, it was cool. We had some friends of the shop come through, drop some music for an hour, and like ultimately just kind of chill, have some wine, you know, and just kind of like vibed out, ate some pizza, and just kind of like got together in the name of music and sharing music.
And it was a great vibe because I just walked in and I'm like, it was probably midday. And I'm like, there's probably nothing going on. It's dying down. And I walk in and I'm like, oh shit. Like it was live in here. And it was great because I actually came in to look for Buena Vista Social Club to see if you guys had like anything. And I'm a huge fan of that whole collective. And you guys didn't, but I want to say,
Kurt.
He was the one that stirred me into the right direction of Cuba and Revolution album.
Yeah.
And it was by far it was a really, really nice listen. There's 3 records in there, and I've only gone through 2.
Nice.
But it was great because then I went to the back, and then I found some other stuff in there, and you can get lost in the back room because there's like infinite,
so much stuff.
Infinite amounts of music there. But it was great. Like I've been here a couple times. Not as much as I would like to, you know, but thankfully I just got a record player for my birthday last year. So now I have a reason to come in and find stuff. But I'm always someone that and probably because I started off as a jazz musician, so I used to play trumpet. So I always lean towards that type of genre. And then if I stumble across something else, then I'll pick it up. And so, but I wanted to ask you, I want to know a little bit before you got the shop. What was it that interested you in wanting to open something? Because this is like a pretty big obstacle to overcome.
Yeah.
Was it are you a musician at first? Do you come from a musical family? Is this something that you just stumbled across later on in life?
Yeah, I would say so. So I didn't really personally start DJing until after I was out of college. Mm-hmm. So once I graduated, I moved out of my parents' house, and some friends at the time were or even while I was going to school, I would go to events where just really or bars around town where I'd really have a big appreciation for the DJ because of just even though I wasn't into music, making music myself or being a DJ myself, I was into listening to music, and I was always that kid that would burn CDs or, for other people. So it wasn't at that time when I graduated college, I had a lot of admiration for DJs, and a bunch of friends of mine were DJing, and really, or about to start DJing. So wasn't until then that I actually started to, I had a digital collection, let's say, of music, and I actually had started to put that to use like after college. So that was like
Nice.
2008 roughly.
Oh, okay.
So that was kind of like my how I personally got into it. But my business partner Brooklyn, I know he's been DJing since he was like 12 or 13 years old.
Oh, he's been doing it for.
Yeah, he's been doing it since he found out at a really young age what he wanted to
Yeah.
do.
This is my calling.
Yeah, exactly. For me, it wasn't. What I just didn't really have a calling like that for until later in my life.
That's cool though, because it's. I mean, it starts off always by listening to a genre, or and then you kind of just get lost in the rabbit hole of music, and because I can kind of relate to that too. I mean, I was in band, but I wasn't like hardcore that I was like, this is what I'm going to pursue for the rest of my life and be a musician. You know, it was more of like, I love being around music. I love being around musicians or people who want to create that type of vibe. So I can only imagine that pretty much led you to like, why don't I just open up a place with some people that I know are hardcore about it and always have something to create that vibe, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like once I started DJing, I got really into vinyl. Obviously, I got turntables, and that's kind of my first setup. And some of the DJs I looked up to at the time, one is DJ Why Not. He had a big collection, and he was like, would go digging and kind of like, in a way, took me under his wing, and I started to kind of learn about samples and like, go into collecting artists that had a particular sound, like a Roy Ayers, or see people that kind of define. We're doing kind of hip hop before hip hop was coined.
Actually,
It's
yeah.
a term in a way, from a vibe perspective. But yeah, so like got really into it. Actually more so than digital music. Started really like avidly. Like moved by a record store, Rock and Roll Heaven, lived there, would go there like every day pretty much after work. So it just kind of became something where I was like, man, I'm really like starting to just get knee deep into this culture, and being like really close friends with Brooklyn, who was working at a record store at the time, just kind of building that bond over records with him. There was like a certain point where we were like, you know what, man, why don't we open our own spot, and just that idea just kind of like ended up morphing into like a reality, and like
We can totally do this.
yeah
Why the fuck not?
exactly, oh my god. And like the moment like we figured it out, actually it was like funny to say, it was like over like a mushroom trip. When we figured it out, it was like there was nothing else that could occupy our mind. It was like, that's what we're gonna do, and that's what we're gonna focus on, and like literally, here we are now. Like probably.
So I have to ask, so I can get a timeline. So from the mushroom trip,
Yeah.
until when was
That's
it that
hilarious.
you opened the spot?
That's crazy. So from there, I would say we opened our pop-up shop in Space Bar about like within like 6 months or something like that.
Oh, that's not too far along. Like,
Yeah, it was like a slew of events that were kind of leading up to that. That was like perfect. Like I was unemployed at the time. I had quit my job that I had gotten out of college. Because of a unfortunate situation, but like like being in that position, I was like, man, I got to do something. Brooklyn working for another store that he didn't particularly love. It was like we were both in this place where like we wanted something different. We wanted to do something different, and we needed to kind of do something. So it was like we put that plan into action like really fast.
so then how many, because I'm sitting here and I know what's in the back room, how much vinyl there is. How many pop-up shops were you doing until you actually opened a physical location?
So we did we did one pop-up shop inside of Space Bar where we like operated during the day for 3 months. So I think it was 2 months actually. It was November and December, like right like Christmas season. we convinced the owner of the bar, Space Bar, Tommy, who really, honestly, we owe a lot to let us use his space during the day because he would only use it and operate it at night. So we did that for 30. We were planning on doing it for 1 month. We agreed to just do it 1 month. It went really well for us. And we're like, oh, can we extend another month for Christmas? And that went really well for us. And then it was at that point that we were like, we first off, we need to get our own spot.
Yeah.
That's like, full on. And secondly, like, wow, we were expecting to kind of be in pop-up mode for much longer, like 6 months, a year, but like within, by that time, by the end of December, we were in this location February 1st. So it was like 1 month of looking for, yeah, it's kind of crazy.
And this has always been the spot. Besides the pop-up at Space Bar, this has always been the actual like physical location?
Yeah, Donut Shop. Yeah, this is our first location we ever opened, and yeah, first physical location.
So, fuck, wow, that's amazing to know. Like the turnaround was pretty much instantaneously when you think about it.
Yep, and we had man, like we had a lot of help from Hector. That's our third partner. He actually joined the company after our pop-up. So that was our intent too, is like, maybe we'll make some noise. Maybe somebody will like see what we're trying to do and like, help us, invest in us, or invest with us. And that happened, man. And we met Hector. It's like the most awesome, like we were already homies with them and everything.
Yeah.
I think he just saw our work ethic and like what we were really trying to do, and he was like and helped us get here. Honestly, if it weren't for him, all the work that he put into this place from the get when we first opened, we owe him a lot.
That's
and even just seeing that vision with us,
and
like,
trusting
and trusting us, yeah.
Because anybody can invest, but when it's especially, it's easier to invest in an already existing thing, right? But when something is like literally being created and about to give birth to the actual physical form, it's still kind of iffy, I can only imagine, because it's like, is this going to happen?
Right.
Now we got people investing in us, so we got to make sure this shit is like full-fledged. So, shout out to Hector.
Yeah, seriously, shout out Hector if you ever watch this.
And shout out to you in Brooklyn for having the idea of like actually making this shit happen.
Yeah, man. I like it's kind of crazy, like that it actually did happen, because it was an idea at first, and like we were like, yeah. Sometimes, I don't know, like sometimes you'll have these ideas that you come up with randomly on your own or with someone else, and sometimes they just stay ideas, and I honestly, for a moment, I didn't know if it was going to be just one of those things that was like, oh, it's cool, we had this idea plan, we never did it.
Shit.
Yeah. It was just like, no, but we're like both about it, and like we both like really like put pen to paper, made it happen.
That's awesome. Now, because of the amount of inventory that you do have, did you already come into this shop with this amount of inventory, or like throughout time you were like collecting and purchasing and?
Yeah, we didn't start with nearly as many records. Actually, we started with nothing. We didn't use our own collections.
Of course, yeah.
Because we're passionate collectors, so we're like, no, we don't want to sell that stuff. So we had dedicated like a fund, to go and buy records. And we actually, before we opened the pop-up shop, we took a trip up the East Coast. We rented a car and just drove up to New York and chilled for the weekend, checked out some record stores, and then drove back and hit every city on the way back, like that we could. Every major city on the East Coast that we could. We went to every store. We let owners know, we were like, hook us up with vendors. We're on a buying trip, And it was cool, like just to see everyone, especially the record store owners and the record vendors, they were like, wow, you're opening a shop in 2015. Yeah. That's cool, and like, wow, you're on a buying trip. That's pretty cool,
Because most of these shops have been established for like decades.
20, 30, 40 years. That's what's crazy is that when we opened when we were planning to open, there wasn't really like people were like, "You're opening a record store in 2015." Like
Yeah.
like it sounds normal now.
Like everything's on my iPad.
Yeah, yeah.
Like some
But at the
shit.
time, it sounds normal. It feels normal now to say record store, to see more record stores. But in 2015 or 2014, when we were planning it and building up toward it, it was weird. It was like records are popular right now. They were not as popular
You
then,
guys were doing
I'll be
something
honest.
risky as fuck.
Yeah, it was totally like just like for the love of it. You know,
Yeah.
we feel this is right. We have no idea what projections are gonna be. We didn't talk number. We didn't do any of that. It was like this just feels like what we need to be doing.
Shit, yeah.
So let's do it. You know, and yeah, it was kind of crazy. But yeah, so we started with those records that we bought on that trip. And
many-
it was like 2 boxes. We accumulated
Really?
like 2 boxes, and we spent a lot of money on those 2 boxes because we wanted to always have like quality over quantity.
Yeah.
You know, we wanted to be like the shop where you're like, wow, they have this and they have that. You know, and or not like not trying to be just just a traditional record store, more of like a location where you have like things that are sought after. You know. And so yeah, we spent a lot of money on 2 boxes, and I remember like when we came back, we were like looking through, we were kind of starting to price things out, and I was like, Brooklyn, like we have a whole store to fill up, and we only have 2 boxes, you know, like we got a lot of work to do. So yeah, it started like that, and luckily like. You know, the more time passed, the more people found out we were buying records and would sell us their stuff, and we accumulated a lot.
So, because I don't know how it is in the record store industry, but getting those contacts of vendors, is that looked at as a prize like connect that some record stores don't want to easily give out, or was it just because of the energy that you guys came in and your backstory and like what you guys are just trying to do? And the year that it was, that the record store owners were like, yeah, we'll give you our vendor contact, or.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because I think that if you're looking to buy records and you're traveling, like, mostly you're gonna hit up every store in the city. So if like let's say you're going on a buying trip, you're going to line up every record store ahead of time and be like, all right, I need to hit this spot, that spot, and this other spot. And then along the way, you'll find out, hopefully, vendors, other people you should hit up, you know? So sometimes, to your point, the people will be like, no, this is like, I'm not going to introduce you to my vendor because there might be stuff that you're going to get that I haven't been able to get yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I can imagine they'll be stingy. Like.
Yeah, it could be like that, but like luckily, and it could have been I didn't really think about this, but it could have been how me and Brooklyn were at the time and how like open we were being. I mean, we went to people's houses, like people, I think fed us and like while we were looking for records, and like I think we were just cool, like, and we were smoking trees with like people were smoking us out. I mean, it was just like, it was kind of like, I think people had this feeling like, oh, I like these guys, you know, they're cool. And maybe that made them feel like, I can share my contacts. But also at the time, maybe there weren't a lot of guys coming through some of those cities that were like looking to spend, and so maybe they're also looking out for their homies that are like, hey, if you're looking to spend some money, my homie is a vendor, he does this for a living, maybe he could use some,
Keep him in business.
Yeah, we all kind of look out for each other in that way.
Yeah.
So it's not, I guess it's not as competitive sometimes for some people.
Well, I can also, like, if I were to hear you guys come into my shop and saying like, oh, we're on a driving trip and we're,
From Florida.
I'm automatically thinking like, damn, these guys literally got in a car and are driving up the entire East Coast. Like, they're not just calling or going on a website, and see if they can order in bulk. They're actually like literally driving to each shop over here and just trying to see if they can find something. Like, that would make me want to have you guys come over for dinner. Like, tell me about your travels and what's going on. But damn, that's pretty interesting. Because I always figure like, you know, this is my prized possession. I don't want you guys
Yeah.
to like know like where I get my records from, or I don't know if it's like a secret culture that, you know, record store owners have, you know.
Yeah, I guess for some people it could be, but I think for the most part, like if someone comes in to here and is like, "Hey, I'm looking to, you know, the same thing. I'm on a buying trip and I'm trying to hit up some spots." Like I would definitely refer them to other store owners. I would, you know, link them with other vendors that I know that sell out of, you know, storage units or whatever. You know, I'd link them just because like, you know, I think that it goes a long way. Like if those people end up going to some of the people I referred them to,
Yeah.
those vendors are gonna, you know, want to scratch my back even more
Yeah,
in the
absolutely.
future. So in the future, if something comes up, a collection, you know, because that's the thing. Being linked with record vendors is the only way we could stay, I think, in business because they're the ones who are kind of like every day, you know, we have to run the shop and maintain it and everything, but these guys are like going and seeing collections like every day.
That's
You know what I
nuts.
mean? And so if they come up on something, I want to be one of the guys they call and be like, "Yo, I got this and this, come check it out." You
Well, they're
know?
literally like treasure hunters.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly,
they're
exactly.
like, oh, I know, you know, Jonathan's gonna love this. Like once he lays eyes on it.
Exactly. And if I look out for them, then I might be towards the top of that list. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Oh, he brings me a lot of, you know, business or he sends a lot of people my way, you know, so let me look out for him too, in a way. You know,
Yeah.
and that way we all look out for each other.
That's dope. And yeah, essentially, you guys are all keeping each other in business.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Because if the
Exactly.
vendor's providing you with stuff that you know you'll like, and you're also referring him, you're gonna get the clientele that's looking for that specific. So it all like,
It
all
all
goes.
works out at the end
Yeah.
of the day.
Wow. So then, did you guys have like a grand opening or like a soft opening when you guys actually like got the place?
Yeah, so we did like it was like 45 days. It felt like 3 years, but it was like 45 days of like rebuilding the spot because it was like we had drop ceiling, we had 3 layers of flooring,
Wow.
carpet, tile. We redid this entire spot, and a lot of that Hector actually ended up doing with the help of a lot of people, and so it was like that. All of that took a long time, and then we ended up having a grand opening like in March. So we signed in February 1st, and by like March 20th or something like that, we were like open and ended up having a grand opening party that month with a DJ Kemet from Atlanta came in and played all 45s, just like literally like no one could have baptized the place better than him, baptized the decks. And I'll never forget that day. It was like it was a full-on party
Yeah,
that day.
of course.
And yeah, that's what we did for the grand opening.
And let me ask you, the people that came for the grand opening, do you still see them till this day?
Some people, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I actually that day met some people that I'm still friends with.
Oh,
To this
nice.
day, yeah. And when we actually had kind of like two grand openings. One was in the pop-up shop. We had like a I guess like a unveiling or something like that and we had a special event in the space bar. So that was like our first, and we met some people then. And then the second one was when we were here. We had an all-out party with DJ Kemet and yeah, there were some people that still to this day come here. They've now introduced other people, you know, to the shop,
Yeah.
and their people have been coming too. I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so how many years has this shop been open?
So it's 2021. It's been like 6 years. This past February was 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane. And so in the 6 years that you guys been open, set aside from obviously the grand opening of being something monumental, you know, to the shop, have there been any other moments or events that have walked through these doors and you're thinking to yourself like, holy fucking shit, like look where we're at right now?
Yeah, so we had some people walk through here, man. Like, and there's some moments of people that have come, like when Stone's Throw did an event a few years ago at Social. Peanut Butter before then, like a few months before that show, Peanut Butter Wolf bought a record from us on Discogs. And so we got his email address and everything, and I'm not supposed to use it for anything other
Yeah.
than that transaction. But when I saw that he was coming to the social, I was like, I reached out to him and I was like, yo man, like I saw you, you know, you bought, we might be a cool store to check out if you're in town, you got some time. So he ended up forwarding that. I never heard anything back from him.
Yeah.
But he ended up forwarding that to J-Rock, and J-Rock ended up coming through.
Oh,
And like
damn.
we just like smoked a couple joints, and he was like, he was really blown away by like all the Sun Ra records that we had at the time, and he was like, you know, kind of blown away that this spot was here in Orlando. He was like, I wasn't really expecting this here. So that was like a really special moment, just to kind of like, I mean, I really look up to J-Rock, and like to have him here, you know, like just almost like
Yeah.
a, I don't know, I feel like I've been a customer of his music for so many years, and then to have him as a customer of our shop, you know, it was like the tables turned. It was weird. It was like awesome and
But it's also shows
exciting.
like a mutual respect of like, I respect you as, you know, as what you do, but then like, yo, I respect you for actually opening this shop in this area.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it was so crazy, you know, like that is really blows me away when like there's that like I admire someone so much and they have an admiration back towards something that I'm doing. Is like, whoa, like that's amazing, you know.
Yeah, because you're thinking what you do is like minuscule, right? Like it doesn't, you know, it's not a big deal,
Yeah,
but clearly it is if they
yeah,
come into the store, you know.
and you know, we've had man, like we had an event last year or a couple years ago with Doug Karn, jazz musician from St. Augustine. He's been on a lot of black jazz records that we always try to carry whenever we can. But he came and did. I brought a Fender Rhodes piano into the shop, and he came and did like a jazz set, basically, with him and like other people from the public that just, you know,
Decided just
showed
to
up
come
with
in?
instruments to start kind of playing with him, and
So you had
it was
like
like this
literally
jam
a
kind of.
impromptu jam session?
Yeah, it
Oh
was
my
with Doug
God.
Karn. Like I don't know, it just kind of blows me away. He's on the Jazz is Dead compilation. He has a
Oh.
record for him.
Holy shit.
And
What
he
number
came-
is that one?
I think it's number 5. Yeah, the purple
Oh,
one.
okay, there we go.
Yeah, he came in and did that. So that was a really special moment. But like other than that, I mean, we've had so many like just like cool moments like that. It just you know just many other people, you know, not necessarily famous per se, but that have come through and just really like, you know, shared like seemed like some special to see their face light up here and all
Yeah.
that, you know, in our shop and for the stuff that we're carrying and like those are really special moments for us too.
Because you guys also had hosted Sway, didn't you?
Oh my gosh, yeah, we
And Heather B
did.
was
My
here
God,
too?
yes, I totally. How could I forget that?
That's
That was
okay,
a
I'm
long
here.
time ago. Yeah, so that was bananas. That was bananas. We had our Red Bull local Red Bull rep. Shout out to Pamela. Just like threw us a major alley oop that whole weekend. Like we were involved a little bit with the BC One event that was the national finals that were going on here that weekend. Or that week, and so she was like, "Hey, Sway is gonna be hosting the event. He needs somewhere to do his show, and like, since you know, I can't really think of a better place than the Donut Shop." And I was like, "You're crazy, like,
He's
you know."
not gonna want to do a show here.
Yeah, I was like, "Well, let me know if he doesn't find another spot.
Yeah.
Let me know. We'll be down for it, you know." And I honestly didn't think it was gonna happen, but he ended up coming. Heather
And this
B.
shit was packed.
It was really packed, and like they did a cipher here with all like local rappers,
Yeah.
and like it was like really just like a special moment, and wow, I totally forgot about it, but don't let that be an indication of how I feel about it, because it was really, it was something else, man. And like we had Sway Records, a record of his with. And on the record of Heather B as well, they both signed it, and they were both really blown away by the shop too. So not only did they host their show here, but they were like really like I don't know, showing like a lot of love, you know, to
Yeah.
what we were doing. And they're like, yo, in Orlando, you know, like
It's always that, right? Like, yo,
yeah,
this shit
in
is so
Orlando.
dope in Orlando, though.
Yeah. So yeah, man, how could I forget about that? That was a really special moment, and
Damn.
like
And did you guys ever host anything or like at local bars? Set aside from Magnolia or no?
yeah, we
Right?
were
You guys
doing
used to
some
do stuff?
events at Magnolia, and I think we did a couple events at Space Bar at night as well, where we were just we've hosted DJs from like Rich Medina. We did an event with Bosk, another event. I think Diamond D. We just kind of hosted a few little intimate sessions,
Yeah.
and since we don't sell liquor, you know, obviously, when you're booking an act, you know, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like when you have an out of town DJ, people want to have some drinks and stuff.
Yeah,
So we
of
would do
course.
them at other venues, basically.
Oh, that's cool. So it's kind of like a sponsored event by Donut Shop.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, damn, that's crazy. And then now with all this shit that happened last year, with pandemic, because we were just talking about this before we started recording. Like you said, you were closed for 8 months,
Yeah,
and it's not like you guys are a bar that can, you know, still claim as an essential business and, you know, sell food out of the spot or,
right.
you know what I mean? It's like you're not a convenience store that could stay open. Like, what the fuck were you guys like? I can imagine the thoughts going through your guys' heads, you know, regarding like how this is gonna stay afloat. Like, what was your plan? Did you have a plan, or are you just like, I'm going in this blindsided?
No, we didn't have a plan. Like, you know, we got really lucky though because almost a year before the pandemic, we were starting to list more records online. Like we were kind of like noticing that like, hey, you know what? We can sell records while we're sleeping if we have more stuff listed.
Yeah.
And so we're like, let's list more. You know, and it literally is just. I'm a nerd. My day job is a programmer. So I was like building this app to try to like, you know, list things easier. We had a big problem where things would sell in the store and they wouldn't get listed offline. So I built something to try to like mitigate that.
Yeah, because this is a lot of inventory to catalog,
It is.
period.
Yeah, it is. It is. And so like, you know, I had been working on that not pre-pandemic for like 2 years, maybe on that app. And then I had it to a certain point where I was like, all right, we're ready to use this about 1 year before the pandemic hit. So we had just started listing a lot more. And like, in a way, we were a little more ready than and a little more prepared for the pandemic
Without
because we had so
realizing.
much listed without realizing. So
Holy shit.
when pandemic hit, everyone was on lockdown. I don't know what happened, but people were starting to buy records. Probably because they were spending time at home,
Yeah.
you know, and no one had any, you know, anything else to do. So they're like, let me just enjoy myself at home. And a great way to do that is to, you know, listen to some music, you know. And so, yeah, we were getting crazy sales online. Like we were closed, but we were doing like, I don't know, like 150, 200 orders online a month. And we were
Wow.
doing before that, like half of that, like 50, 25 orders, you know? So what we were missing in store was really helping us like online, you know,
Yeah.
make up for it.
My gosh. And then, because I reached out to you telling you that I was going to be going to DC for the weekend, and I kind of wanted to stop by the shop. Beautiful, by the way. If you're ever in the DC area, please like look up the Donut Shop.
Thank you.
It's so pretty. It's just such a nice little like cave. I love it. But so, where did that idea spring up from? Of extending yourselves outside of Florida and then opening a spot in a boutique like hotel?
It was not any of our ideas. Just being honest, we got really lucky because we have a connect in the hotel industry that for years we would invite us to the Standard in Miami to pop up during Winter Music Conference, and that was really cool. But that same connect ended up being a consultant on this boutique hotel project in DC.
Wow. Wow.
And I don't know how, and it was before we even got involved, but he convinced the ownership of the hotel to build this record store instead of a guest shop,
Yeah.
like hotel guest shop, And when he got the approval, he called us first. And it was because of our like relationship that we had established from the Standard in Miami. So that happened like must have been like August of like 2019, or June, July of 2019, about a year or so before the pandemic, let's say. And so he would hit us up, and we're like, look, man, we're in no position to do this, to be honest. Like we have enough time, we have a hard enough time staying open in Orlando.
Yeah.
That was how things were at the time for us. Like we're not gonna, want to do anything to kind of, put us at risk,
Yeah.
But
Or sell you guys a dream that may not even like happen.
But he was like, dude, you and then it was also like at the time it was a Radisson hotel, right? So I was like, I am not seeing this vision, bro. Like I'm just, it was a Radisson. So I was like, I'm not seeing this vision, man. He's like, look, man, like just come up to DC. I promise. Like we'll take you around. We'll show you what the vision's gonna be. We'll show you the plans, etc. We went up, and me and Brooklyn were literally like, this is just not. We had the intention when we were going up there. We're like, we're gonna check it out, but it's probably not gonna. It's not gonna happen, But let's go anyway. So we went and we saw a hotel. We didn't see the vision at all. We were like, wow, this is like old rundown hotel, the Radisson, and I just didn't really see it until I don't know, until they started to, I don't know. We actually kind of started to be like, no, we're not interested. We're not gonna do it. Like you should find another shop, maybe. It kind of it's weird, and I know I'm probably saying more than I should, but it literally was like that. It was like no, and it was like no. The more we said no, the more they like.
We're selling it to you. Like
we're
please.
like no, it has to be you. Like you should really reconsider this. You know what I mean? I'm sorry about my phone situation here. So we ended up. We ended up like saying, okay, well, like let's, what will it take, and like let's at least start planning, and I don't know, like we had the skies just kind of opened up. They really helped us out a lot, with like even to the point where they were like, hey, you don't have the money, we'll front you the money, and we'll as long as we just want you to be here, So whatever obstacle you can think of. We have it covered, And we were trying to we don't want to do this. So it really turned out like Ilan, who was the contact that we had from the Standard, the guy doing the creative in the DC hotel, yours truly, he really had the vision, and he saw us like being a part of that vision. And I don't know, it's weird, but I hadn't heard from him for a couple years. Ever since we stopped doing events at the Standard, and that phone call was just like, damn, man, like, that's important to leave a good impression on people, because they will remember and they will call you, and, things might happen like that, I guess.
Holy shit. And then the hotel opens, or it's literally getting ready to open. Did you guys already knew who was going to be running the shop up there? Were you going to try to just like hire somebody and then every now and then frequent the shop and see how things are going, or?
Yeah, so we had like we had an idea. We had to get some help up there, and Brooklyn, all of a sudden was like, I need a change of pace. I'm not really loving it here in Orlando. I could do it. I could go up there and I'll be, kind of like change my life basically, so that I can make sure that it runs smoothly up there. Because it's, obviously really important. It's hard to leave a business in someone else's hands that you haven't met before and stuff. And we didn't even have anyone, know?
And your name is on it. So it's like whoever's going to be running it is also a representation of us.
Exactly. So he, like when we were scratching our head, like wondering like, oh, how are we gonna get staff? You know, how can we, we didn't know what the projections were gonna be. So like having the responsibility of paying staff without knowing like how you're gonna pay them,
Yeah.
you know, it was a lot. And he was like, you know what, I'll kind of take one for the team, and I'll move my life to DC, and that way we'll, you know, we'll be able to hold it down. Worst case scenario, you know, I could work 7 days a week, you know,
Yeah.
until we can afford to get help and that sort of thing. So that was kind of like, wow, you know, that's really going to help us a lot, you know, when he said that, and that was kind of the plan we went with. And as soon as he opened up, first day, we met Torrance, who was the guy that you guys met.
Keenan.
Keenan. That's
Keenan
hilarious.
Thompson.
Yeah, he looks like Keenan Thompson. But he walked into the store, and like him and Brooklyn like hit it off, and
Cool guy, by the way. Like,
Super cool cat, yeah.
Laid back, awesome, very nice. I loved his customer service.
oh, that's awesome. Yeah, Torrance is that dude, man, and he really, like he came in and just, you know, really helped us. You know, at first started working the weekend so Brooklyn could have a couple days off, and then is like pretty much working like full time up there now, and
That's
and It's
awesome.
been really cool.
And
Yeah.
it looks the complete opposite of what a Radisson whatever looked
I
like.
know.
It is the
Yeah.
most classiest joint. Like just walking up to the hotel, they have the windows completely open to the street. So like, I mean, if you wanted to, you could literally just like walk into the window and then you're there in the bar. But like, as soon as you walk in, the bar is over to your left with seating. And then there's straight away, there's kind of like an outdoor area, pavilion type, you know, like a courtyard where you
Yeah.
can sit down and chill. And then off to the, well, immediate right are the elevators to the hotel. And then a little bit straight ahead to the right is where you see the donut shop. And then behind there is a barber shop.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, I see the, you know, the little upscale but yet underground type of feel that they're trying to incorporate
Yeah.
into the hotel. So it was pretty dope. And then when you walk in, it's just like, it's a classy little space, you know? And you have an amazing
thank you.
selection for the space too. Like it's pretty extensive, I would say, you know, you have a little bit of everything there.
Yeah, small, but we try to like, you know, pack some good stuff for a little bit for everybody.
Yeah. And instead of getting a fucking postcard, like,
I
give me
know,
a 45.
exactly.
Like, get me a record and send it to me.
And that's kind of their whole idea behind it is like they, you know, why do a traditional guest shop,
Yeah.
you know, hotel guest shop, you know, they also wanted to incorporate like all the sound can be piped throughout the whole hotel
Yeah.
from the shop.
Oh,
And so
nice.
they wanted to basically have, you know, during brunch, like have DJs playing and, you know, just kind of create this like ambiance around the shop. You know, it really, now I can see why he was being so persistent ahead of time, because it's a central piece of like the hotel. So it was a central piece of like his whole vision, like, you know, of like, hey, we'll have a record store, but we could do so much with you know, with that.
Absolutely. Because,
basically.
yeah, if they're having events in the lobby area, like essentially like, oh, is this actually sold here? And then like, bada bing,
Exactly.
you got a transaction like right there. I mean, beautiful idea, great execution, because it makes sense when you first walk in. Because I'm like, like, as we were approaching, I'm like, where the fuck is this shit gonna be at? You know?
Yeah.
But then when you walk in and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is nice. This is like, you know, you like upscale it a bit, you know?
It's kind of like a vibe, you know, not to sound cliche, but
No,
they
it is,
also
though.
they also have really good food and beverage partners, like
Oh,
the people who do the Mercy Me food, and actually that's what kind of sold me, was like
Oh, the people right next door?
there's like a food place.
Yeah, it said like Mercy Me, Mercy
Yeah,
Me.
yeah.
Oh, they also do like provide the food for the lobby area, or?
I think so. I think it's all kind of mixed in,
Oh, okay.
and
Oh, that makes sense.
the partners that, so before they even told us, they were like, hey, the food and beverage partners are dope. And they're like, go to these restaurants, one of which is like Call Your Mother Deli. It's like a bagel spot. It's like one of the best bagel spots in the whole country. Like they were known.
Oh, I Googled that and
You did?
I saw them. I
So,
didn't get a chance to stop by though, but it was on the list.
so they were like, check these guys out, go eat. And when we were in DC and it was still a Radisson and we were staying in this like weird looking hotel and they're trying to tell us this vision, we went to the restaurant and we're like, wow, these guys are partners. Like these guys, if these guys are down, then like maybe we should be down because like they're huge, you
Yeah.
know, and like maybe there's something we're not seeing, you know,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's so yeah, the whole vision from food to what's playing on the music and you know the visuals, everything is like really really well
And it's
thought
a
out.
really nice part of DC too. It's not.
Yeah.
It's just like as soon as you even just go into that immediate area, like things kind of change a bit. You know what I mean? It's not like your local like neighborhood, or it's kind of like you feel the change, and it's like a nice like okay, this is a classy area of DC. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
so that's why like now it makes sense with the hotel, the bar, and like how everything was incorporated and how everything was I guess designed to look like it totally fits that energy of that part of DC.
Yeah.
Great place. I was
Oh, thank
super
you,
happy
yeah.
for you guys. I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, and also it's like to me as a local, like it's an extension of Orlando, So it's kind of
Yeah.
like, oh shit, like look where we're at. So.
Yeah, it really does feel incredible. Like I can't explain it. I unfortunately don't get to go up there enough to feel that so close to it. But yeah, it was like amazing, and we knew in a way that we were representing Orlando.
Yeah.
So we also were nervous about that. Like, oh man, we don't want to be like coming through and not
Yeah.
not showing putting Orlando in a good, I guess, I guess we're not that we represent Orlando like that, but we wanted to, show that we do things cool here too, I
Yeah,
guess.
absolutely. I mean, shit, if you have artists and musicians come in here and the first thing out of their mouth is like, damn, this shit look nice, but man, never would have expected Orlando to have
Yeah.
like you are putting on, not to put any pressure on you guys, but like you are representing Orlando in a great way, I think, So thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, thank you so much.
Now, you
Yeah.
also mentioned that you get the inventory here first, and then from here is when you obviously keep here in store, and then you also ship over to DC?
Yeah, for new vinyl.
Okay.
So yeah, just because it's a small space up there,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of storage or even a lot of room for like when we receive things here. It could be a lot of boxes and stuff. And so it's also my job to kind of reorder and restock, and we all have our roles and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just we get things shipped here, we receive it, and then we rebox it up to send up there.
Nice.
Yeah.
But it
Plus,
looks
I
like-
don't trust Brooklyn to that degree. to be that detail oriented.
Yeah. He was
just
like, oh, he
kidding.
sent this? Yeah, let me
Shots fired.
let me keep this up to myself.
I'm just kidding.
No. But I mean, you guys been doing great, like all together. Like
Thank
I get
you.
excited just to know that like a local business is thriving and everything, because my big catchphrase is like, we're more than the mouse. We have other
Yep.
shit to offer. We have other sights to see, other things to experience. So I think you guys kind of fit the whole mold of all of what that encompasses. So thank you so much. Do you have any like plans for the future? I know everything's kind of like up in the air because we're just now getting readjusted to being out in public, but do you guys have anything like in the forefront of what could possibly take place here?
Yeah, well, I think here just like maybe just want to keep obviously this growing as much as possible. We've been doing a little bit more events in the spot in the space, and like we did a couple record store events the last couple months, which have been awesome. So we want to do that way more. We want to do, obviously with COVID, and that makes it a little challenging with Florida being such a hot spot, but like we always had this intention. The reason why we got a bigger space than we probably really need, like we have a living room space here, is obviously we have
Totally.
room,
Yeah.
you know, is because we wanted to be a community space. Like we wanted to be able to do things here, bring people together, you know, and so we want to use that for that reason more often. Like
That's
so that's
awesome.
number one. But also, man, like I've always wanted to get into a venue space. Personally, like that, I love shows. I love throwing shows. That's kind of years ago before we got into the record business. Like I personally was part of a crew that would throw shows in Orlando, so I want to get into that a little more. But I think the only way to be able to do it in Orlando the right way would be to have full control. Like you own the venue, you know, can book the shows, you have the bar license, you know,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So maybe Donut Shop, an extension of Donut Shop will become at some point in the future. I don't know when, a venue.
That'd be pretty dope. Put it out into the universe.
Yeah,
Man, 'cause,
yeah, it's
like,
out there. Yeah, I have to because now I feel pressure to actually
yeah. Once
put it
you
together.
said it, so
Yeah, yeah.
you
Damn
go,
it.
you can't go back into the,
Yeah.
But no, in due time and at the right time it'll happen. You know.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
can't rush greatness, right? So it'll transpire like when it needs to. Now, being that a couple weeks ago was my first like record store day
Yeah.
event that I ever went to, because I always wanted to go to, but there was always like, I have to be waiting in line at the butt crack of dawn just to get like an exclusive or something like that. I just want to know from an owner, co-owner, like how important is Record Store Day? Would you say it's like the Black Friday for record stores?
So possibly, yeah, because Record Store Day. Okay, so Record Store Day is primarily for new, for releases that are made specifically for Record Store Day.
Okay.
So they reissue, or they'll like new, or artists will release a special release, or they'll reissue a special album that for the first time is on vinyl in some different format or something. They'll do something special, or sometimes they'll just reissue an album that's super common. But they do these Record Store Day releases, and pretty much like they go out on that day, and people will line up at record stores across the country to buy these releases. But what's important is not necessarily those releases. That's what Record Store Day pretty much is. Just supporting the record stores in general. A lot of other people that don't really care about the releases, that are just like, it's Record Store Day, I should just go out and support my local record store. I think those are people that contribute more so to the importance of Record Store Day than the people who are like, oh, I'm looking to flip, this like, I don't know,
I'm sure.
Fleetwood Mac album that got Record Store Day release, like I'm gonna flip. There's a lot of people who do like flips, and they'll it's like sneaker releases in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
So those people don't really help the culture. Record Store Day, or the organization itself, kind of sucks because I don't know, they're not doing the greatest releases, and they also have a lot of rules. Like you can't sell those releases over a certain amount. Like they're very strict. They're like,
they cap it.
They
cap
cap
the
it,
limits.
so you can only sell it at their full. They have a retail price, and they actually make you sign this like agreement. And if you go against it, you won't be allowed to order releases, Record Store Day releases again.
Oh,
so like,
shit.
but what sucks is that people buy those releases, like resellers, and they go and list it on eBay for double the price. So who's making the money? The record store that has a physical location and rent to pay, or this like guy who's just flipping records on the side, as a side hustle. So from that perspective, I feel like Record Store Day organization should open it up to allow the record stores to do whatever the fuck they want with their releases. You know what I mean? But I only say that because Record Store Day should be not about those releases. It should be about the concept of supporting the record store, independent record stores who support the artists. I feel like buying records is one of the best ways that you could support artists.
Yeah.
That money a lot of times will go directly to them, or or back, because they invested a lot to make this stuff.
Absolutely. And it's like a physical piece of art that you have in your hands, like, I mean, granted, God bless the streaming platforms and stuff, but sometimes an artist, their music has to stream so much and so often in order for them to get like a fraction of what they would get if they were selling a physical copy of their music, so.
Exactly.
And it's just, I mean, shit's dope to look at.
It's dope to look at. It sounds so great. And yeah, there's no better. And after you've listened to it 300 times, as long as you've taken care of it, you could still sell it.
Yeah.
And get something else. So like for entertainment value, it's like there's few things as like that retain value like that. Like when you wear sneakers, like you're wearing them a little bit each time.
Yeah.
They lose value, you know what I mean? Like with your records, is if you take care of them and stuff like that, yeah, they might even appreciate, you know what I mean? They might even get, more expensive as time goes on, I guess.
Yeah, because I mean, I bought Ray Charles, not here, but at another record store, and just like seeing the age on it and opening it and smelling how old it is, like, I don't know, it just like, I wonder where this is, like where this came from. Yeah, like who played this a million times, or who went through, just looking through the, the liner notes, I guess you can say, of the record, like, just I think like that, like, damn, who held this before me,
Yeah, that's incredible, man, because you'll find the craziest things inside records, and then it makes you think of like, or when we buy a collection, sometimes we can tell. One time we bought a collection and we could see when the guy turned gay, like
because the transition of music.
We saw, we're like, all right, he was collecting like soul and funk and stuff, and then all right, he started to get into disco, and then whoa, he started to get into disco. You get what I mean? Like
then wham.
Yeah. And so like in a way, you see like a collection is like defines in a way like what people are going through in the time.
Absolutely, yeah.
And like I don't know, it carries so much of that too with it. So I think that in general, records, any day that, we always say like record store day is every day.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially if record stores are open. So, it's any time that people actually go out of their way to celebrate that or appreciate it, it's really dope for the culture, I think.
Absolutely. And this is such a welcoming spot too. Like when you first walk in and you see the amount of inventory that you have, and then you go off over to the back room where it's like, man, you really got to be dedicated to go through all those boxes.
Yeah.
But you also had a good deal going on during record store day too, where that whole box, you were selling them for like $10.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, man, I wish I didn't have so much shit in my trunk right now so that I could take some boxes. But that's what I like to promote, is that's the reason why you should be making friends with the local record store owner, because like you essentially become a vendor for the buying customer, right? You create that relationship, and like, oh, I know, Gimp likes Miles Davis.
Yeah.
So anytime I get a Miles Davis, and if it's something that she doesn't have, then I'm gonna call her up and be like, yo, I got this in, like, come on through to the shop and chill for a bit and, see if you want it or not. Like, I feel like building those relationships with, like, just with business owners, period, is something that we need to value more, because you don't get that if you were to go to a corporate store.
Yeah, you don't. You can't. I mean, you can't expect the employees to, like, remember 10,000 people. Like, at that point, at that level, it's so vast that it's hard to, personalize everything,
No, absolutely.
But, yeah, we're lucky that actually some people come in and we'll remember, like, oh, you bought such and such last time, I thought of you, and like you might like this, or something like that. And people are like, damn, you remember? Or or we try really, really hard to do that, and it's kind of like walking into a deli and be like, or a restaurant and be like, you want the same thing? That feeling?
Turkey sub.
no mayo,
Yeah, hold the
or
onions.
whatever. Yeah, yeah. Hold the onions. You got it. Coming right up. That feeling is like, damn, like I feel special.
Yeah.
I feel like I was, like I'm known or something. So
Yeah, absolutely.
having that feeling in a record store with someone who knows your taste and can allow you to explore some things you may not have otherwise known.
Yeah.
That feeling is like, damn, that's awesome. Yeah. So to that point, like get close and familiar
Yeah.
with your record store clerks and owners, and
Absolutely.
you'll never have to. You'll always have music to be inspired by.
Yeah. I mean, thanks to him, because I came in with Buena Vista Social Club, and
Yeah.
then was like, well, I don't got it, but I got this if you're down to listen to it. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'll do it. And then ended up being like one of my greatest pieces that I have in my little collection, So that just tempts me as a customer to continue to come to this spot, because if you guys don't have something that I'm specifically looking for, at least I know someone in here is going to steer me in a direction that it's like, well, let me put you on to something kind of similar, but something also new that you may not have. So
Yeah.
that's pretty dope.
It's like when you're out, I feel like you have two experiences. Like when you connect with music and like, oh, I love this song. I haven't heard it in forever, and like it just kind of brings this like nostalgic memory. And then there's another one is like, whoa, what is this song? I've never heard this before, but I need to know it. It's like my new favorite thing, And there's kind of two ways that you can experience music, like something I already know and like and I'm enjoying it again, or something I didn't know and like I'm loving it,
Yeah.
And like I don't know, I think both bring you different feelings and like bring you joy in different ways. And like personally, I've gotten to the point now where it's like I don't want to hear what I already know. I want to hear what I don't know.
Yeah.
And that you seems to bring like the most joy to me, and a lot of other people feel like that too. It's like you know what but you don't know what you don't know, and like there's probably
Yeah, it's a whole another realm. It's like, because music is known to take people on journeys, right? Like,
yeah.
just how that transition of that guy's lifestyle completely changed,
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
so like, kind of stepping out of your everyday normal listen, like just venture out like every now and then, and, on the unbeaten path, and see what else you discover. And it's like, it could possibly be your new favorite thing.
Exactly.
So it's dope. I love the vibe that you're creating, and the
Thank you.
energy that you like exude in this place. And congratulations to you guys, and
Thank
many
you.
years of success.
Thank you. I hope so as well.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate that, and yeah, I appreciate this too.
Oh, for
taking
sure,
the
man.
time.
You guys have always been on like in the back of my mind, like, oh, how is this gonna happen? How is this, how am I gonna work this out? Because I didn't feel, oddly enough, being that we're in a record store and everything's audio, I didn't think an audio podcast would, live up to the expectation. Like, I want people to see like where we're at and what the store looks like and why they should come to the shop all the time. So I hope I gave the Donut Shop some justice here. But yeah, I mean, please drop your social handle, the address, so that people know.
Okay, yeah. So we're check us out, Orlando, Florida, Donut Shop, 703 North Orange, 32801, right here in downtown Orlando. And check us out if you're in DC, at your inside of Yours Truly Hotel. Say what's up to Torrance in Brooklyn, and or check us out worldwide on IG, Donut Shop, SHOPPE.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep, and or online, ldonutshop.com. So yeah, man, that's how you can find us.
Awesome.
Various different ways. You can call us as well. No, just kidding.
Hey, whatever plugs, man. Whatever plugs you guys need. And for you locals, they're also known to have the Florida mural on the outside. Orlando.
Oh yeah, greetings from Orlando.
Yeah. So that's also a great photo op opportunity. So I've taken a couple pictures there. So thank
Yeah, and we sell the little mini versions of the meal
Yeah, I
in the
just
store.
saw that right here. It's
Yeah.
right next to me. I'm gonna have to buy one. So thank you guys for tuning in, and that's Locally Fresh for you guys. Peace.
Peace.